Shri R.S. Sharma, Honorable Chairman of TRI, Honorable Shri Sunil Bharti Mittal, Chairman Bharti Enterprises, Ulf Persson, Global Head Government and Industry Relations of Ericsson, Rajan Matthews, Director General COAI, Paolo Coelho, MD Ericsson India, and ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed an honor for me to be here and address this knowledgeable audience for this year's conference on Broadband for All. Allow me first a few words on broader developments that I think link to openness, trade, mobility, and a world, the world that we wish to live in. The world is going through a challenging and difficult period. As you of course understand, I'm referring to the threats to the open society and human values that terrorism has again brought, this time in Paris, in Bamako, Mali, and yet another bomb blast in Tunis, in Tunisia. We grieve with the victims, and we're determined, like India after Mumbai 26/11, to defend our ways of life, the open and democratic character of our societies, and the human values ingrained in them. Our freedom to live and move, mobility of thought and information in the absolutely broadest sense of that word. Europe is currently seeing the largest refugee crisis since World War II. Very large numbers of people are fleeing their homelands for life and safety for their families. Sweden alone will this year receive around 190,000 refugees. With the figures just given as to the size of the country, it's easy to calculate this is about 2% of the population. Of course, this puts enormous strain on society. But when talking of a challenging period in history, I'm also referring to our fragile planet in a physical sense. We cannot condemn our children and their children to a future that is beyond the capacity to repair. We now have the technological innovation and the scientific imagination to begin the work of repairing it right now. And I believe that the deliberations here are very relevant in that context. The Secretary General of the UN, Ban Ki-moon, has said that our generation is the first one that can end poverty and the last generation that can fight climate change. In open societies, government, science, and the private sector can work together and do something about it. Sweden, we for our part, have set the goal to become one of the world's first nation to completely end our dependence on fossil fuels and having no net emissions of greenhouse gases by the year 2050. We've also set the goal to have a fossil-free transport sector already by the year 2030, that is 15 years from now. At the 2015 UN Climate Change Conference that has just started in Paris, we hope for strong commitments by all nations to address climate change. I can say in that context, and I can say today, that I'm proud of Swedish industry. They're at the forefront of integrating a sustainable approach to business with extensive environmental protection, measures to improve the work environment, and gender equality. Ericsson is right there. And the development of the networked society is a core element, I believe, in building a sustainable future. Twenty 2015 is an auspicious year, not only for geopolitical reasons, but steps have been taken in the right direction by the global community. We have now a global agenda for sustainable development in the so-called Agenda 2030, adhered to by all countries in the UN General Assembly in New York as recently as September this year. It's grounded in the firm belief that poverty can and should be eradicated, that climate change can and must be stopped, that equal societies are better societies, and the foundation for a better future for all of us. Goal number 8 in the Agenda 2030 is, and I quote, promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. This relates directly to deliberations like this one. Sweden and India have a long and very rich history of bilateral relations, and our companies in both countries are an integral part in developing this relationship. This, I would say, is especially the case in the telecommunications and IT sectors. Ericsson has been present in India for over 100 years and has today more employees here than in any other countries, including its home base in Sweden, over 20,000. Indian companies like Wipro, Tata Consultancy have also made significant investments in Sweden. Since Sweden opened up its labor market for nationals outside of the EU, qualified Indians have been the biggest group to come to Sweden. In fact, the success of some of our software firms in Stockholm depends directly on the possibility of recruiting talent from India. Like India, Sweden also has large rural areas. And one key challenge has been to connect all parts of the country, including thousands of islands. We're happy to share best practices. Our collaboration has strengthened further during the recent visit by our ICT and Urban Development Minister, Mr. Mehmet Kaplan, who was visiting India recently. We have come rather far in the area of broadband, and we're eager to share our experiences with India when it comes to broadband-related policy questions, implementation, or through the expertise of our companies. Increased use of technology has played a critical role in renewing urban areas in Sweden. One of the more exciting example is the new smart city that is coming up in the Stockholm Royal Seaport, one of Europe's largest urban development projects, transforming what was an industrial area into offices and housing. By 2030, the goal is that Royal Seaport is free of fossil fuels, climate positive, and fully adapted to climate change. And Ericsson is one of the main partners in building this smart city. As India embarks on similar projects of constructing smart cities, I would welcome you to visit Sweden. I think there is a lot we can learn from each other. We've heard from Paula and Ulf some very interesting insights, and including a fascinating direct contact with your studio in Stockholm. India is at the verge of another IT revolution as the government and private sectors are connecting an ever-increasing number of people to high-speed internet. Connecting the population is a critical enabler to promote sustainable and inclusive economic growth. So I'm confident that broadband-enabled digital India will help India to become a truly competitive, knowledge-based economy and leverage citizens to become healthier, better educated, and more engaged in their community and society. It also has the ability to transform and has the power to create new business models that will change the way we work and live. I've been told that for every 1,000 additional broadband users, roughly 80 new jobs are created, and for every 10 percentage points increase in broadband penetration, the isolated economic effect on GDP growth is about 1% of GDP. ICT enhances productivity in virtually all sectors of the economy. What we see now in India is impressive, with the rapid expansion of broadband infrastructure in the coming years. And thanks to the Honourable Minister, Ravi Shankar Prasad, you regulator, Mr. Sharma, industry leaders, and the father of India's mobile growth story, Mr. Sunil Mittal, and the operator customers in India. I'm confident that India is solving the broadband penetration challenge rapidly and with mobile broadband. Sweden and Swedish companies are indeed happy to share our best practice experiences and solutions. I look forward to listen to the various stakeholders tonight, and I wish you very much a fruitful deliberations. So thank you very much, and thank you for letting me be part and listen to your proceedings. Thank you.